2 minutos para que empiece. A falta de 30 minutos han publicado el código de Tarzán artículo 5, que hace referencia a los mercaderes de la muerte, a unas casas y... no sé, y a un destino. No sé qué nos espera. Muchas gracias, Javiland, bonito. Menos de 2 minutos, ¿eh? Pues no me viste con la presentación del PoE2, entonces, ¿sabes? Muchas gracias, Alch. Luego os doy... bueno, os doy ahora un besito. Javiland, guapos. Menos de 50 segundos. No. Esto... me voy a... oh, no, si tengo que escuchar. Tengo que escuchar lo que diga, cara. No había caído. Vale, voy a intentar no molestar. Me he puesto aquí abajo. Muchas gracias, Zodius. Luego te doy un besito. Sí, voy a intentar traducir lo que pueda, ¿vale? Y si algo no lo estoy escuchando, pues paro, lo escucho y luego lo cuento, ¿vale? Hi. Se escucha abajo, lo sé, voy.
It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now.
Dice que han vuelto a la
Path of
acción
Exile,
ahora.
Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June.
La semana
And
que
we're
viene,
committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2.
los
That
ciclos de
means the
4
next PoE
meses.
2 league will be in August, and the next PoE 1 league after that will be in October.
Octubre, la
Quick
siguiente
drops are
liga del
enabled on
PoE 1.
today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below.
El drop.
This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths,
Ah,
and
tiene
your
versiones
PDR.
alternativas.
Just
Vale.
because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off.
Vale, los drops funcionan, gracias.
And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
Vamos a ver.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are.
Está con Kirak.
Trust me. I should know.
Está siguiendo un hilo. Tipo destino, ¿no?
But now, I seek
Hostia.
something more tangible.
¿Cómo?
Someone I care for. Trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories. Made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul.
¿Lo cual, perdón? ¡Qué feo!
These manifestations must be destroyed. Their threads must be
Se
eradicated.
parece al árbitro en eso, ¿eh?
I must have answers. We must find the originator.
Pero esa es Zana, ¿no?
We must save.
O sea, echar Zana de chiquita. ¡Su sister! ¡Es el hermano de Zana! Nueva mecánica de Endgame. Nuevos bosses de pináculo. Feos, horribles, me encantan. Nuevas mecánicas de crafteo. ¡Ojo! ¡Ojo! ¡La ciudad completa! Crafteo de runas. ¿Qué? Rework de Betrayal. Esta es la liga. Mercenarios of Trarthus. ¡Oh! ¿Qué vas a llevar? Vas a llevar contigo un personaje. Vas a llevar contigo un mercenario. Y lo vas a poder equipar.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
¡Oh! ¡Qué guapo!
Hi,
Hola.
I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you.
Sí, hay muchas cosas.
Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas Endgame update.
Hostia.
Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trarthus.
Los mercenarios de
After
Tarzán.
that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing
hablar del
settlers of
Gold.
Calgur into the core game.
Calgur, ¿cómo lo van a meter al
Finally,
core?
we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality
Actualizan
of life
Betrayal,
improvements.
Quality of Life, que ya
Then,
sabemos la
we'll wrap
mayoría.
up by discussing our boss kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs,
Supporter
and ending
packs?
with a live
Vale.
Q&A session, where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat.
Luego,
In
luego
Path
lo
of Exile
miramos. A
Secrets
ver,
of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within.
vale, Atana está,
Partway through the
Atana está
endgame,
atrapada.
you will meet Egan, an intelligent
Egan.
man of mysterious heritage.
Es el
These tears in
hermano.
reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working
Los
with
portales
Egan,
van a
you
estar,
must step through and find
Uy,
Zana,
la Zana
or
chiquita.
whatever remains of her.
Es como síntesis, pero bien. A ver cómo es la mecánica.
Okay, so that's the story background.
Vale, esta es la
But how does
historia.
this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device
¿Qué ha dicho de los tiers?
and reveal this on your atlas, a
Vale.
thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready,
Vale,
and he'll
es
open the
el
areas in
rollo,
sequence.
el rollo de memorias, ¿no?
These areas can be fully influenced by your atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
Son como memorias, pero de mapas de tier
As
más
you work your
alto.
way along the thread,
¿No?
you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat.
Ah, o sea, vale.
Different maps on the thread have
Okay.
different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next
Vas
to your
ganando
regular
los
skills.
pétalos y puedes usarlo
example,
para ganar un bufo, ¿no?
Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more
también son
valuable
bufos
items
de drop.
like currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them. And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you
O sea,
progress further into the thread of memories,
esos que van a ser-
the
esos que
maps
van a
can
ser
have
duros.
more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability.
No va a haber
As you gather memory
WSD.
petals,
Se
you
mueve
can
con.
use these
O sea,
powers
se
to
clican ASD, por
Each
cierto.
skill costs its
Entonces no
own
va a haber
amount of
movimiento de
memory
WSD.
So using the
Sí.
examples above,
Vais a
you
ir
can
por ir
first
cogiendo
use
unos
Memory of
bufos y
Impatience to
usarlos.
become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use
Muy
Memory of
rollo
Disbelief
Sentinel,
to
¿no?
cause them to drop better, more valuable items.
Sí, que lo puedes juiciar,
Finally,
básicamente.
obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get
intentando
all
ver
the
qué hay.
experience and enhanced drops twice.
Vale,
There
no,
are
no
many
veo nada.
combinations of these powers,
Okay.
so you'll have to carefully consider how
Sentinel-
they best work together.
Sentinel.
That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer.
Vale.
As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread, and these will stack as you go.
Hostia.
So the deeper you delve
O
into
sea,
a
esta es
memory,
como una
the
nueva
more
forma de
mods you will
juiciar
have.
los mapas.
This, combined with the special
Sí, bufa los
abilities,
mapas.
will allow for some of the most juicy
Área está
maps ever
influenciada
run
by
in
the
Path of
Originator
Exile.
Memories.
Let's
Está
take a look at
influenciado-
some of the altar mods.
A ver.
You are always
Los
presented
altares.
with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause
monstruos
some rare
raros están
monsters to be
poseídos.
possessed by tormented spirits.
Uber Memorias.
Where this mod makes
No,
Pyrrhic
pero es que las
modifiers free
memorias
to
no
craft.
puedes juiciarlas. Esto sí.
Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread.
Si todo estaquea. Si
The
todo
final map
estaquea
in
es
each
una
thread is a true
locura.
challenge, with all the altar mods
Y el mapa
applying to
final
it
tiene un
and
boss.
guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar but dreamlike, drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying.
Me encanta que tengan ya la barra todos los
In this
bosses
map,
nuevos.
you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus,
Mierda.
or one of the other warped memory
No,
bosses,
no es el Sirius que
they will
decía.
drop a map
No es el
frame,
Sirius que
which
decía.
Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tiers. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses.
Ah, vale, estos son las entradas para acceder a los
In
3
this
pin
arena,
bosses.
the moment of reverence, Zana is
Hola.
reliving a memory of her father.
¡Qué
Aldo,
guapa! Esta arena
giving
me
a
encanta.
passionate speech in Oriath.
Esta arena me
The
encanta.
Atlas distorts this memory of her
guapo.
father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread.
Tú me recuerda a un boss del Last Epoch,
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles.
¿Cómo?
Of course, if you are brave and
Ah,
strong
el
enough
ítem.
to defeat
El
them,
ítem. El
each of
ítem
these
de
new
drop.
pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay
Ay.
the incarnation of fear,
Starfall
you might be
o Melee
lucky enough
Crit.
to find the
Atributos. Physical.
Starcaller
Área.
unique abyssal axe.
Y Physical las extra
We're
random.
gonna show this one because
Starfall.
it's straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the
Una
right
nueva
build,
habilidad.
you can carpet
Hostia.
entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them. Another item you may find,
frasco.
and this one
Bueno,
is my favorite,
bueno,
is the
bueno.
Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Bueno.
It consumes a lot of charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the Escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed.
Sacas una
Or
carta y
maybe
ganas
you'll
un
draw the
bufo.
Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill.
Pero qué
Effectively,
fuma
you
esta
can think of this
gente.
unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying
Te da un
degrees
bufo
of power
según
to
la
draw.
carta que saques, pero tío, ¿qué es
Okay,
esto?
but let's get back to the Atlas.
Los mapas
After
nuevos.
defeating all
A
3
ver.
new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps.
Vale,
These
me gusta
maps
que
come
sean
with the
tier
previously
16.
mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory pedals, but can
Estoy
also
intentando
roll the
leerlo.
same
Son
modifiers
mapas que
typically found on
consigues
Tier
después de
17
matar a los
maps,
bosses.
making them far more rewarding. With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands and will have a random amount up to 100. This does a few things.
Espera,
When you
espera.
identify the item, it will
ver,
increase
a
the
ver.
tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better
Cuanto
the
más
item will
memoria
be.
strand, mejor es el
On
ítem.
top of this,
Vale.
whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more
Hostia,
powerful.
Forging Potencial.
The new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies,
LOL.
which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item.
Vale, y esto caen en los
The
bosses
Orb of
nuevos
Remembrance
que te
will let you add
permiten...
memory strands to any normal equipment.
Hostia,
So if
espérate,
you
le
have
vas...
your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands,
Vale.
you can add some before crafting it. The Orb of
Esto va a estar
Unraveling
roto,
will
¿no?
consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers.
¡Oh! ¿Qué?
This orb's effectiveness
Te
is
sube
based
los-
on the number of memory strands
Te
it
sube los
consumes.
tiers de los modificadores.
The Orb of Intention
¿Perdón?
can be used on memory-influenced maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The
¿Qué?
Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs.
Sí, ya lo
This
sabíamos.
has now been rectified.
Vale, aquí le van a
Both
dar
bosses
su...
now have
su,
Exalted Orbs,
su orbe
which
al
can
Shaper
add
y al
their
Elder.
influence to an item.
Shaper Exalt y el
Zana was
Elder.
there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's
Bueno, eso ya
storyline.
lo habían anunciado.
Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete. It's
Vale.
almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them.
¿Cómo? Un objeto único que
In other
interactúe...
news, there of course
Un
has
objeto
to be
único que
Atlas
interaccione
passive
con
tree
ellos.
support for this new
Vale,
in-game
el
content.
Atlas.
Let's take
Hostia.
a look at a few things we're adding.
Son unos cuantos.
Grasp the Past notable passive skill
Vale, claro, o sea, la
increases the
mecánica
chance for the
esta
amount of
es
memory
core.
strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest
Sí.
value.
Vale.
By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll
Sí, para
decrease the
elegir.
chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses.
Vale, puedes elegir
meaning
el
you'll
boss
have
más o
better
menos.
chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run. This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas. You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory
Pinnacle
petal and powered
uniques.
skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items.
O sea, básicamente.
While we were showing
Bueno,
all the juicy rewards
Ahora-
from the
ahora
new
lo
in-game
hablamos.
system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping.
vamos a ver qué
Let's
pasa
talk
con el
about
oro.
that. Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Calgary
Han mejorado
expansion.
la ciudad.
It funded the
Supuestamente.
development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market,
Vale, eso seguirá usándose el oro.
and the
Vale.
passive respec system with Faustus.
Vale. Joder,
Those features
40,
offered by Faustus will be
50.000
here to
euros.
stay, along with
Dura.
some of the other services King's March has to offer.
Que venga Necrópolis.
We'll get
que
more
venga
into that later,
Necrópolis.
but don't worry. King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building. Like before, gold
no hay
will be
town
used for town
building.
services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trarthus.
No la buildeas,
In
o
this
sea, ya la
league,
tienes
you will meet
montada.
veterans who have
Me
traveled
gusta.
all the way from the lawless cities of Trarthus. They're ready
Mercenarios
to offer
of-
their sinister services,
mercenarios de
but not
Tarzán.
for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in
Te vas a
each area.
encontrar. Mira este. Mira
They
qué
have their own
cojones,
personalities,
Qué feo que
and
es el
come with
cabrón.
different builds, skills, and items already equipped.
O sea,
After meeting them, as per the Trarthan code,
Te los
they will challenge you
encuentras
to a duel, a test
te-
of strength
te,
and
te vas a
conviction.
encontrar con ellos y van a querer pegarse
Before
contigo.
beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here,
Que te
you
los
can see the
encuentras
gear they have equipped,
equipados.
the skills they employ,
Y las
and
skills
any
que
support effects
tiene.
augmenting those skills.
Pero.
You must
¿Qué
now make a
cojones?
choice. You can hire their services, take
Puedes
one of their items,
contratarlo, coger
or
sus
exile
ítems.
them. If you choose to
exiliarlo.
hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie.
Lo cual
However,
aguantan
they're
un huevo.
testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items
Hostia,
might
este,
they be
es
using?
de ítem alto, ¿eh? Este tiene 6
Generally
Ls.
speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from
Tú,
defeating
¿cuánta gente de
monsters.
aquí va a tener un
As they've been
mercenario mejor
crafting gear
equipado
items
que
too.
él mismo, eh?
They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using.
Hostia, te
There are
puedes
even
buscar
some
uno de
new unique
support.
items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One
Hay
such
algunos
unique is
objetos únicos que
Scornflux.
solo pueden ser conseguidos por
These
ellos.
boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane.
Hostia, los
While
incrementos de
equipped,
cast speed
increases to
para
cast
Arcane
speed from
Surge
Arcane
aumenta
Surge
tu velocidad
also
de
apply to
movimiento.
movement speed, which
Hostia.
is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous
El nivel de
Trarthan
las
mercenaries,
soportes,
bearing the
Marcelo.
name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trarthus. They are less common, but have far better items.
Pero ¿cómo?
And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification.
O sea,
If
tienen
you're
como
not swayed by any
modificadores
of their equipped
especiales
gear,
que puedes
however, you can
hincharles.
always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trarthan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll
Se
just
van a reír
die.
de ti.
Almost had me. Well, not really.
Lo lógico,
While
como
playing in a
siempre.
party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary.
Vale.
For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're
Sí, bueno, como
defeated,
siempre,
each
si
player
vas
has
en
a
party.
50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on.
Tío, que le
Or
hinches la
they might
ocurrencia
wish
al
for your
pobre
demise,
mercenario.
so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
No puede ser verdad. Te
Let's say you
hincha.
won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the
Pero
auras and
si
buffs
se
I
mueren,
provided.
se acabó, ¿no? Quiero entender.
When I'm
No, no
playing a
puedo-
more
no puedes
aggressive
hincharte
character
tus
myself,
ítems.
though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a striker, who can
Striker.
spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well.
Para
He
farmear un
will also
mercenario
frequently use
roto.
Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I
Pero lo
blitz
veo,
off damage
lo
from
veo
the back.
aguantar mucho al mercenario, ¿no?
Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trarthan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trarthan
Gemas
gem as
especiales.
promised. You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may
O sea,
be
yo lo que quiero
situations
saber
where
es
you
que
need
si los
specific
puedes
backup,
perder.
like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing.
Ah.
They
Pero si-
don't level
pero-
up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you
O
advance
sea,
through
no,
the
no,
campaign
no le vean.
and
Entonces
endgame.
tú tienes que estar todo el rato cambiando de
If your
mercenario
mercenary
y
falls in
farmearlo a
combat,
nivel alto.
you will need to return to town and spend some gold on
¡Qué
healing
susto!
supplies to get them
Lo
back on their
revives
feet.
en la ciudad con oro. Menos mal.
Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated.
Cuando no pierden su equipamiento cuando mueren.
If your
Vale,
merc buddy
lo han aclarado.
consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
Pero les puedes quitar los ítems. Vale. Vale. A tomar por culo. Se llama niño rata, Se llama niño rata.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries.
¿Qué significa exiliar?
If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras,
Ah,
you
vale,
can
si
then
te
choose
parece
to
una
exile
mierda.
them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside
puedes
these new
como ir
Trarthan
exiliándolos
arrivals,
para
we shouldn't forget about the
que te
recent
salgan más
Calguran
fuertes.
ones too.
Que no vuelvan a salir del mismo
As we
tipo.
mentioned
Vale.
earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respecking of passive points.
Vale. ¿Qué vas a hacer
You
con el
can now
respect?
do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch.
Ah, bueno. Claro, como la ciudad no va a estar
Black
disponible
market
desde el
item gambling,
principio,
previously just available in
le han dado en
Kingsmarch, is
respect-
now available
vale,
in each
sí,
town
vale,
at the
vale.
same NPC.
En cada ciudad puedes utilizar
This
el oro
lets you
en vez
buy
de
randomly
solo en la
generated
ciudad.
item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique.
Que el tema del oro en
The
el
currency
leveo
exchange will
no
be
me gusta.
returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll
En
be
el
able to
acto
find
6
Faustus, who can
desbloqueas el
help
tradeo
facilitate these
automático.
trades. Now, after
Vamos
almost
a
a
ver.
year of building, Johan is finally
un año,
satisfied with the upgrades made to the town.
Hola, doctor, gracias,
And
bonito.
now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building.
No hay que construir la ciudad,
As you start
¿vale?
running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Calguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these
Vale.
ores
El barco
and
se
crops
mantiene.
to Karui and Calguran ports, and they'll return rewards in
Ojo,
kind.
Sil, muchas gracias.
By sending
Vale.
shipments, you'll receive different items. But by sending to
Vale,
Karui
se
ports, you
mantienen ahí
will also
los
receive
tatuajes.
tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to
Eso
change
ya
what
lo
stats they
sabíamos.
grant.
Ah, y van a meter que las runas sea lo
The
que tú uses
Calguran
para
ports will be
craftear.
sending back rune
Vale,
grafts,
vale,
which is a
vale,
new
vale,
passive
vale.
tree
Ahora
mechanic that
entiendo.
replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town.
Chance for skill
These
to
are
not
similar to
consume a
tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree
cooldown.
mastery
Reemplaza una
node.
maestría. What the
For
fuck?
example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from
Reduce el
boots,
bono
but
ganado de
increases
los
bonuses
botas
gained from gloves.
y aumenta el bono del...
Runegraft of the River
Vale.
has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low
20%
life.
de recuperar
And the
tu vida.
Runegraft of Time,
Son como muy
which has
random
a chance
todas,
for your
¿no?
cooldown skills to
No sé
instantly
si me
recover from their
convence.
cooldown.
A ver
Which
cuáles
I
hay.
will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other Runegrafts which cover a wide range of different builds and
10%
stats.
de daño por
Some are more
cada
common
Unlinked
and
Socket
others
en el
rarer.
equipo. Ah, no,
You
en
can
tu,
only use one of
en
a
tu
given
arma de
type at a
dos
time,
manos.
but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be
Global
particularly
Defense es
useful for
40%,
off-class
eso es
investment.
tocho, eh.
Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may
Recombinator,
recognize
veremos.
from Path of Exile 2.
¿Nerfeo o bufo?
For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has
Ponen
a
el
success chance you can
recombinador del
see.
Poe...
This method can result in the items being
Del
destroyed.
Poe 2.
However, it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects.
A ver qué dicen más.
Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have
Pero-
kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way.
¡No!
By letting fate
¡Están las
decide, it will
dos!
combine the two items randomly.
¡Están las
There is
dos!
no risk of destroying
¡Os
either
acaban
item,
de
but it
mear
will
en
be
la
less
cara!
predictable.
¡Os acaban de mear en la cara! Mantienen las dos. ¡Qué puto amos! ¿Cómo se han
As Settlers
baiteado?
is now a core
¿Cómo se
mechanic,
han
we've also
baiteado?
added Atlas passive tree support.
¡Hostia!
For example, if you wanted to gather more Varicum ore, you could take this notable.
Han puesto los nodos
Each
en el
ore
árbol
has a
del,
similar node.
de la ciudad en el árbol. Se han reído de
Refiner's Bargain
vosotros.
converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you
Escarabajos
can
de la
add more
ciudad.
ore deposits,
Vale.
increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores.
Vale.
To sum it all up, King's
gusta.
March is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you.
Los
Send
mappers
shipments
se
of resources in
mantienen.
exchange
Los
for
barcos
tattoos and rune
también.
grafts, using
¿Y?
those to modify your passive tree
más?
to an extent never seen before.
A ver.
Following on from that,
nada
we've
más.
also
Vale.
made a
Vale,
substantial
han hecho un
rework to
resumen
another
final.
important mechanic.
Vale. Van a ver el
Betrayal.
rework a Betrayal. A ver.
As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate.
Sí, Settlers Valkyrie.
This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification,
Me suena.
research,
Alguien
and
puede hacer el
intervention.
meme de es igual, es
As you
igual.
encounter the Immortal Syndicate members,
A ver.
you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses.
No entiendo.
Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to
No
change
entiendo.
divisions,
Está
form
resumiendo
friendships
cómo
and
era para los
rivalries,
nuevos. Hostia, perdona, Caneja, no me he enterado.
and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time.
Vale.
Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the
Vale,
Immortal
esto es
Syndicate will
antiguamente.
reset,
Vale. Va,
requiring you
está
to
explicando
start
cómo
from
era.
the beginning of the investigation again.
Vale.
This
Esto
has
cómo
always
era.
been a difficult
Tío, es
decision for
igual,
players
es
and can
igual.
often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal
O sea,
Syndicate.
Ahora cuando vas a matar a un...
You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress
Hostia,
every
entonces ahora
time.
configuras Betrayal como quieres.
The boss fight itself has also been improved.
Sí,
now
sí,
with
a ver, creo que sí.
significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards.
Nuevas recompensas de
By the way,
Catarina.
if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace.
Si eres nuevo en el juego, no mires
The
esto.
Mastermind
Vete a
still
otra
has a
cosa.
chance to drop a Veiled Orb.
Vale,
now
tienen el
renamed to
Veiled
Veiled
Orb clásico,
Exalted.
que ahora se
Veiled
llama
Chaos
Veiled
Orbs are being
Exalted.
re-added to other safe house leaders.
Vale, y el Veiled
In
Chaos
addition, the
lo dropean
Mastermind
los
now
otros.
drops the new
Los
All Flame
Alflames.
Embers.
¿Qué dices?
All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs and in-game maps with different types of special monsters.
A ver, lo de las ranas y
These
eso
packs
estaba
have
guapo.
unusual properties, compositions, or rewards. For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
Vale, a ver, no sé. Muy
It is our
matarbosas la
intention with All
temporada,
Flames to
¿no?
provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers
What the
in
fuck?
new and interesting ways.
Hostia.
Another good example of this is the All Flame
Se
Ember
pueden
of Propagation.
tradear. Es
When
que
slain,
es
special
lo de
rare
los
monsters added by
Alflames va a
this
ser
All
una
Flame here
locura.
will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map.
Es que lo de los Alflames
This can
son
be
una
useful when
locura.
trying to create
Y son
singular,
muy fáciles
very
de
powerful,
tradear ahora.
and very rewarding monsters. Something akin to meat sacks, which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too. Another is the All Flame Ember of Resplendence,
O sea,
which
pensad
adds
que
monsters
esto
that drop
es
no
como
items. But
una
when you
capa
slay
nueva.
them,
Esto
you get
cuando
buff
se
stacks of increased
utilizaba.
quantity
Mira,
and
mira,
rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters.
mira, mira. Vas stackeando quantity
All
rarity
Flame
al
Embers can
matar.
be placed in your map device like scarabs,
Y algunos que tienen
and used in
doble.
conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you.
Es que simplemente son más
The Mastermind's
combinaciones.
unique items have also been improved.
Ah, vale, han
The
mejorado los
veiled modifiers
monstruos.
generated
O sea,
on these
los
items are now
objetos
from a
únicos.
custom pool
No, a ver,
exclusive to
después de
those
haber
uniques.
nerfeado a la mayoría.
Bitterbind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes,
Hostia.
such as +1 additional Spectre.
Bueno,
Aside from improved rewards
ver.
from the Mastermind, all the safe house rewards have also been rebalanced. We've
Ah,
done
bueno,
a pass on the
un minuto y
crafting
medio,
sprees at the
me
end
gusta.
of many safe houses.
Vale,
For
vale.
those who aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency.
vale, vale. El tiempo, es que
There's
lo
a
del
limited
tiempo
amount
era
of
una
time,
locura.
and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items.
Vale.
This has also allowed us to add
Vale,
much more
lo bueno es
powerful
que ahora
crafting
ofrece
options
cosas
in each spree.
pregeneradas.
Let's take a look at a few examples. In this
Hostia, hay
spree,
muchos
a
muy
randomly
distintos.
generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you.
¡Hola!
Test your crafting skill or luck with this reflecting mist crafting spree
Hostia,
and see if
este
you
me ha
can
gustado.
create something
Este me ha
worthy of
gustado.
Calandra's praise.
Hostia, este me ha gustado.
And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item
No,
and a new
con
kind
un
of orb
ancien.
that resembles a Valor.
Jin
but not
Touched
quite the
Valor.
same.
Ah, que puedes
Normally,
variarlo
you can
varias
only corrupt
veces.
an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb
Vale.
also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits
Ah,
and has a much
hostia.
lower chance to brick the
Hostia,
item.
betrayal.
It can be
Hostia,
a very
betrayal.
useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes.
Hostia,
Of
betrayal.
course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin
Ah,
the
vale.
item.
Vale, pensé que no se rompía.
There are
Me han
also
baiteado,
crafting
hijos
sprees
de
where you
puta.
still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item. Then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping
Mierda.
to get your ideal unique.
Esto es una mierda.
For most sprees, the rank of the syndicate member
Este me
increases
gusta
the
más.
amount of currency provided,
Este me
the
gusta
quality
más.
of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too.
Sí,
If
que
you love
quieren que
gambling for
betrayal
currency,
esté
how
chetada.
about you try opening Varicci's Emperor's Luck tests?
Parece mucho, pero
These
no
work
rayéis.
just like the
Porque
Emperor's
esto
Luck
es,
divination
luego alguien
card
va a
and
decir,
provide full
este
stacks of
es
currency.
el árbol bueno,
If
y
you're
así
lucky
es
enough,
como lo
unlike
conseguís.
me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
Sí, bueno, puede salir 10 divines, lo sé.
Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too.
Sí, que se pueden
All of
hacer
the
desde
crafting
aquí,
bench
¿no?
options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them.
Ah, no necesitas
They are
hacer Betrayal
instead
para
found at the
desbloquear
entrances
las
to boss rooms
recetas.
and in-game maps.
Vale.
On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items.
Vale, vale.
You can
Meten
just
los
right-click them,
crafteos, los
or the
meten en el
equivalent on
árbol y
gamepad,
dejan el veil
and
como
select
solo un
which veil
método de
modifier you
crafteo,
want
no
to
un,
unveil.
no un método de desbloqueo. Me gusta.
Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Shut up!
Vale, está bien, está muy bien Betrayal ahora, pero muy bien. Y tengo que volver atrás a ver si puedo revisarlo.
Let's quickly talk
Character
about some
balance.
character balance.
A ver, el
We
trickster.
will be doing our regular character balance changes where we are
Van a
bringing
hacer
outliers
balance.
in line to help evolve the meta, but we are
Vale.
also focusing our
Va a haber
attention on
balance.
buffing some specific things.
Vale, van a
This
bufar
includes
algunas.
spellcasting supports that specifically
Gracias.
enhance self-casting builds,
Van a self-cast
channel
builds,
spells,
van a bufar. ¡Oh!
adding new
¡Winter Orb!
options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes.
Hombre, van a
which
van a
includes
bufar
some
las
favorites
5
from some of
clases
the
más
alternate
pochas.
classes from Legacy of Freesia,
Hostia.
and buffing a whole bunch of
escuchado algo de
transfigured gems
Freesia.
that never really hit the mark.
Creo que han puesto algunas ascendencias de
Combined
Fresia.
with the new endgame crafting, improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trarthan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think
Vale,
about.
que dice que hay muchas
Instead
cosas
of
nuevas
delving into all of these
que
in
van a
more
salir.
detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of
Vale.
the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality
Vale, vamos
of
a ver
life
Quality of
features
Life,
that
a
we
ver si
know
hay
you've all been asking
algo
for.
que no se vio.
A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case
La
you
mayoría han
missed
sido
any.
posteados. A ver cuáles
You
no.
can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to
Puedes
open the menu,
pausar.
or by opening
Hostia.
any full screen interface, like the passive tree.
Vale.
You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting
También
that in
se pausa el
certain
juego
pinnacle
si te
arenas, a debuff
desconectas.
will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing.
Ah, en los
We're
bosses
also
no
making
puedes
a change
pausar.
to how you use
Vale.
currency items on strongboxes and
Vale,
monsters imprisoned in essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same applies to
sentido.
essences with the Remnant of Corruption currency.
Lo del Remnant of
Orbs
Corruption
of
es súper
Horizon have
chulo.
been updated. They can
Vale,
now
los
reroll your
Horizons se
Elder
pueden
and conquer a
utilizar
Guardian
para
maps.
rolear los
Doing so will
mapas.
reroll the base map
sea,
and the Guardian of that map.
Vale, me
The
gusta.
map device now has a small additional inventory.
El
This is
inventario ese
particularly
me
useful
gusta.
if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying
gusta,
amounts of
la
scarabs
verdad.
or other map fragments.
Eso es un cambio más mulado.
During breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically
Todos los
collected
fragmentos de
and dropped
brecha
at the
caen a
end
la
of the
vez
breach.
después de la brecha. Esto a Cuenta y le gusta mucho.
On gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This
Para que
removes
puedas
a bunch of
lootear
frustration when you are trying to
sin tener
interact with
que
objects in
limpiar.
the world and monsters are nearby.
Es que antes
You
no
no
podías
longer
recoger.
have to
Si había algo en
kill
el
all
suelo
of
no
them
podías recogerlo.
Vendor windows will now remember your
Este es
last
el
search.
bufo a Rogue.
This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC
Se
basis.
mantiene hasta que deslogueas.
The amount of
Y
characters you can
han
type in
subido
the
los
search
caracteres
field
a
has also been
250.
increased.
Vale. ¿qué
When
más?
using currency items, after right-clicking them,
Vale,
it
esto
will
se va,
highlight
vas a
all other
poder ver
items which
los
that
ítems
currency
en
can
los
be
que puedes
used
usar
on.
la currency, eso es muy bueno. Esto lo tienen en el
There are
PoE 2 y
many
mola.
other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this live
Ah,
stream
vale,
concludes.
vale, bueno.
Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event.
La nueva
where
mecánica
players will race
es
to be the
unos
first to kill the
mercenarios
new pinnacle
que llevas
bosses.
contigo,
The
Bastiel.
event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trarthus League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners.
Hay una
Keep an
una
eye on the
race,
news
no
in the
me
lead up to
interesa.
launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up,
A ver los
we're going
supporter
to be
packs.
talking about our new League
A ver
supporter
si merece
packs.
la pena dejarse el dinero.
Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs. The Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely
Tío,
cosmetic
lo que
and do
mola es
not
que
affect your
tiene la
character's
temporada
power or
muchas
progression
cosas.
in any way.
Muchas cosas tiene.
The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Esto es del PoE2.
The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered. Either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies.
A mí las skins
You are
de
the
estas
law
raras...
while wearing
bueno,
the
espera.
armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate.
A ver.
The Spider Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies.
Ah, bueno, te avisa cuando hay un raro.
The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in two forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden
Bueno,
flowers.
efectos, esos son los efectos que iban metiendo en su
Keep track
momento.
of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone, with the Trials of Chaos
Y para
hideout
rellevar
decoration.
el
It will
recuento
keep track
de
of the total number
Ultimátum.
of waves completed,
Hostia, ¿cómo
the
saben que
total
ahora
number of
Ultimátum es la
ultimatums
moda,
succeeded, or even
¿Cómo
failed.
saben ahora que
On
los
top of that, it will
Ultimátums es
track
la
the total
moda?
number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The Crypt Keeper Pack series also contains 6 exclusive
Hostia.
microtransactions.
Este map device mola.
With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and
Ya, yo
steal
no hablo
the
del
soul
láser,
of
hablo del
slain
efecto
unique
que da
enemies.
Oscar.
The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
Los efectos no me gustan. Las skins sí.
Become the true master of the undead by wearing the
Mira,
hallowed
este
Crypt
de
Keeper
armadura
armor
me
set.
gusta.
It comes with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
Qué puto asco. Qué guapo.
Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time. It also comes with a scoreboard, so you can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade.
Pero,
Equip
tío.
yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you
Hostia,
ride the
la
line
capa.
between the living and the dead with
Hostia,
the
la
sacred
capa.
Crypt Keeper back attachment.
Qué guapa la capa.
The Sacred Archives map device
Buah,
resembles
este
a
este
magical
map device
library
me
with
gusta.
the works of scholars that come to
Es
life when you
muy
open a map.
grande.
This map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
¡Hala! Hostia.
These packs are now
Bueno.
available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile,
No,
Mercenaries of Trarthus.
son 100 pavos cada uno.
Additionally,
Al máximo.
any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2.
Y se pueden usar en PoE2, ambos packs.
Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trarthus League.
O sea, si
So
os
now's
gustan
your
las
last
skins
chance to
anteriores, pues bueno, ahí las tenéis.
Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile
Hostia.
1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately
esta
have
es
access to
la,
them
la
in Path
Strong
of
Box,
Exile 1.
perdón, la Mystery Box de,
Thank you
de
so much
ambos.
for your ongoing support.
¿No son los core? No,
We're
no son los
just
core.
about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas.
Entra en la parte
With
de
release at
drops,
the
el
end of
ROS.
next week, our community team will be posting crucial information
O sea, para solo, ¿eh?
you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
Vale,
We're looking forward to
hostia. ¿Por qué se para?
developments. We're looking
A ver.
forward to dueling mercenaries, fighting new pinnacle bosses in the endgame, and exploring the new crafting systems and character
Es Secrets, ¿no? Ahí está. Pero
builds next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
ahí lo tenéis. Pero no entiendo. ¿Por qué se para ahora? Vale. Ya tenemos aquí la página. A ver. Hay que pagar el internet, pero si el streaming no se ha movido. ¿Cómo que pagar el internet, cabrón? Ah, hostia, qué rapidez. No voy a ver la entrevista a Ziggy D, la miraré mañana. Si ahora queréis verla, pues ahí lo tenéis en la página. A ver, son muchas más cosas de las que me esperaba en cantidad. O sea, me refiero, no han hecho nada espectacular en general, me refiero a nada que no me esperaba, pero han hecho muchas cosas y eso me gusta. Hay muchas cosas nuevas, muchísimas, demasiadas. O sea, hay demasiado, sí. Sí, aquí habrá muchos únicos. Es que hay muchos únicos, muchas mecánicas nuevas, muchas cosas en el endgame. O sea, mucho de todo. Mucho, pero... O sea, demasiado. Y luego encima lo de los mercenarios que ha pasado desapercibido, pero lo de los mods especiales es una locura. No sé si se pueden ver por aquí, pero no sé si habéis visto alguno, pero había alguno que mamma mía. A ver si aquí se ve. Mira, las habilidades que se lanzan por tus trampas o minas rebotan 2 veces más. Esto es una locura. Los minions tienen un 20% de cooldown recovery. Eso es una barbaridad. Y luego las gemas de Tartarus. También que hay alguna que ojito. O sea, son un montón de cosas. Bueno, ahora lo miraremos, lo desglosaremos y pararemos a las notas del parche.